Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, my friends. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody who might get something out of it. Other than that, guys, let's get into it. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great day. Myself, I was in my garage fixing that nightmare of a pickup today, and Jesus, let me tell you, whatever I charge for this thing isn't going to be enough. It's a tough job. But I made amazing progress. I actually would have had the whole thing done, other than one of the parts that we got was not defective. It was the wrong part, wrong application. So we'll deal with that tomorrow, and we'll go from there. And anyway, so we're gonna go with we'll go back to the Just for Today NA meditation, which is titled "Surrender is for Everybody," and I like this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it. If at some point we find ourselves not progressing further along, we have probably stopped doing one or more of the things that helped us in early recovery. Surrender is for the beginning, right? Wrong. After we start to settle into this beautiful new life, many of us start to plateau or even to regress, as we think we have learned all we needed to learn from surrender. But it is continually turning our will over to our higher power and surrendering regularly that keeps us moving forward to bigger and better situations. Conceit and complacency can get us into big trouble. When we find applying the principles on our own power doesn't work, we can practice what worked for us in the beginning, surrender. When we find we are still powerless and our lives are still unmanageable, we seek a power greater than ourselves. Just for today, I need guidance, I need support, and I need a power greater than my own. I will pray and meditate. I will do something that says I surrender. Guys, I'm shocked constantly at how much I can apply these things to my life, right? And not so much that I've had to go back or that I've had to regress. I'm enjoying a steady rise to heights that I've never reached before, but it's because I put these principles into action. I was fortunate to recognize early on that my ways of thinking in all that time out in 40 years, it got me nowhere. It was I was just the hamster on the wheel, shoveling water against the tide and not getting anywhere. So early on, I surrendered. Literally surrendered my will to God, my higher power, and I've remained that way. And I caught myself when I started getting all these beautiful blessings coming into my life. I realized that if I started to take credit for these things and started to put my will into them, I was going to lose them, because I was noticing all the blessings, all the things that were getting me to the next plateau, like the next highest level, were things that I wouldn't have thought of. Right? It was something I didn't think I was either qualified for or capable of. I started to realize that I didn't give myself anywhere near the credit that clearly my higher power does, because I'm stepping into all these situations and doing amazingly well. I've never been complimented so much in my life as I am regularly today, because I step up and I take the leaps of faith, but then I just do the absolute best I can every day. And that's one area that I'm doing really well in, guys, because I'm enjoying it, right? I'm being intentional. I'm seeing the fruits of my intentionality coming into my life on a regular basis, and it's amazing to me. I'm being given new opportunities at a staggering rate, and it gets to the point where I know. And a big part of why, guys, is I look at everything as a spiritual lesson. I'm not taking anything for granted. I literally stop and digest and ponder and get introspective on everything I do. And then at the end of the day, I stop and I journal and I look at my actions, my thoughts, and my decisions, and decide what made sense. See where I took a leap of faith, and see where the reward of that one came from, and then see where I might have caught myself in an old behavior and an old limiting belief, and then I step out of that and I choose the path of expansion every chance, right? I give myself, and again, if I know it's something that's not meant for me, I'll try it, because I've been often wrong. The things I thought weren't for me are applying beautifully in my life and making a big difference. So I will try anything, and if I try it a couple of times and I feel it's out of alignment for myself, then I let it go. But I at least step into the opportunity and I at least see if I can, make something of it, or if I can, pass it off to somebody else, or I can help somebody else with it. And I'm finding more often than not, things are just like, it's amazing. One thing leads into the next, and suddenly I'm on a whole another avenue that's way above anywhere I'd ever gotten to in my life, and I'm looking back at it going, geez, that's something I used to, and most of the time it's kind of funny, guys. I like little things like I'm getting really good at, I used to, and here's the thing, guys, you got to understand, this is a quote from Bruce Ling, and I won't get it word for word, but be careful how you speak to yourself, because words are spells. We're literally speaking magic spells. So when you're saying things like, oh, I'm terrible at remembering names, well, you're telling your brain you're not going to remember people's names. And that's something I used to do all the time, and I was absolutely terrible with remembering names. Today, I say to myself, I'm going to remember that name. And I focus on that, and I remove all the negativity, guys. And I'm not perfect with the guys. I still catch myself all the time, but I'm paying attention to it. And when I catch myself, I correct myself, and that's the difference, guys. Instead of just prolonging one of my negative stereotypes, I change it, and then I challenge myself to constantly, reaffirm it all the time, and then it's literally making a difference. Now I'm having no problem remembering people's names at a rate that I've never had before, and that's just courteous to other people, right? It shows respect. But it's because I'm giving myself the credit for it ahead of time, and therefore I'm priming my brain to do so. When you speak negatively of yourself, your brain, that's literally a magic spell. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and I had a hard time understanding this, but now I see it because I'm doing it in a positive way, and I'm reaping the benefits of it. So I challenge all of you to do so. And anywhere you're struggling, surrender. Surrender that to God. Pray, meditate on it, right? But be intentional. Don't just go through the motions, guys. Mean it, right? Get yourself into a state of gratitude. Get yourself into a one-on-one conscious contact relationship with your higher power, and then speak openly and honestly. That's the most important thing, guys. Don't go in and say, "Oh, I want this, I want this." Just talk about the things like, this is what I'm concerned, right? Because this is what's worked for me, guys. It's been like mind-blowing to me every time I stop and have an honest conversation, and I do constantly with God, and I give him my concerns and say, and again, it's mostly, but it's not that I'm not going to get this, I'm not going to get this. No, it's like, God, I think I'm wrong here. I think I've made a mistake here. Am I going in the wrong direction here? And then every time I do, guys, within a few days, something magically appears that shows me the direction I should be going in, because I'm paying attention, and I'm not just blowing things off, and I'm not just out grabbing. I'm trying to be as balanced and honest and faithful and compassionate and kind as I possibly can. And because I have, and I understand that I don't, and that's what I guess it's hard to explain, guys, but I understood for a long time. I paid so little attention to myself that I didn't expect to live as long as I have. So now here I am at 50 years old, and I had no retirement plan set in motion, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, and I didn't know what. And now, over this last 6 months, I'm given all these opportunities, and I'm seeing avenues where I'm going to have comfort. I'm going to have stability for the long term. And that's amazing, right? So now, what am I doing? I'm showing gratitude for that by getting myself as healthy as I can. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I eat clean. I don't eat any processed foods. I eat tons of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. I make homemade, healthy meals. I try to eat a balanced diet. I get plenty of exercise. I get plenty of sleep. That's the biggest thing, guys. And I was, I've talked about it in the past. I was somebody who would just go. I was constantly high, and I was doing drugs around the clock, and I would literally not sleep for 14, 15 days, and I'd pass out for 2 or 3 days, and I'd sleep for a couple, I'd sleep for 2 or 3 days, and I'd get back up, and I'd do it all over again. And it was just a complete shit show, right? And my mind was anything but clear. I had no clarity. I had no idea what was going on around me. And just out of simple routine, I was able to get certain things done. But I was making massive, dangerous mistakes that were. I'm so grateful that I didn't hurt anybody and I didn't cause any major problems. I'm very fortunate that I didn't, and that's great. But today, I understand that I'm being given opportunities to create a long-term structured or comfortable life. So I'm doing everything I can to show gratitude by being healthy and being ready to step in and take those roles. Every time I get an opportunity to help somebody else, I step out and I do so long as it's not negative for me and it's somebody that's trying. I'm not going to get out there and just, give out handouts to somebody that just wants to sit in their ass and not do anything and then take my money and go get high. But if somebody's trying, then by all means, I'll always buy somebody a meal, and I will always talk to them and get them to a meeting, and you know, I go back and forth with a bunch of people that don't like to leave comments, that want to go, that want help, and I do. You know, I'm not a life coach by any means, but I'm certainly happy to listen and see and give my best advice on what I think you know, what the best steps would be. And again, you've got to, you know, you got to do what's right for you. But I'll certainly, and I do so willingly, I do so freely. I don't charge for that. I have my business that makes my money. That's where I pay my bills from, and I'm learning my own value, and I'm learning to charge appropriately for my business work, and that's fantastic. And at the same time, I'm more than happy to go out and help other people, because I understand so many people were willing to help me, and I had to help me. But it's all this beautiful dance with my higher power, right? God, whom I choose to call God, and I'm so incredibly grateful. And that's one thing, guys. I pray and I meditate daily, multiple times a day. I meditate every night before I go to bed for about 2 hours, and then I pray through, you know, throughout the day, and just giving thanks and showing gratitude. Because I'm telling you guys, the state of gratitude invites more blessings into your life. It shows that you are a good steward of the resources you've been given, and then you prove that by not blowing things and paying bills on time and saving money and spending it where appropriate and helping other people around you. And it invites the opportunity to have more blessings into your life. I'm being given more and more opportunities to make money, and I'm not, you know, I'm charging my worth, but I'm not gouging anybody. One of my fairly new customers who give me a ton of work called me today on the way to another job. They wanted me to meet them over at one of the buildings, and I was there for about an hour going over stuff with them, because they trust my opinion now that they've seen everything I've said to them has been right, and everything I've fixed has been fixed properly. And these are things they had problems with other people for years, because people just made shit up. They didn't know what they were doing. So now they're getting me my opinion on other things, and then offering me work. So when I went to leave today, I scheduled some work for later in the week. And my buddy's wife says, "Oh, well, what do I owe you for today?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I didn't do anything." "No, you were here for an hour. I want to pay you for that." And that's great. I appreciate that. And I said, no, it's not necessary. I'm more than happy. You guys are a regular customer. You give me a lot of work. I'm more than happy to come out and give you advice without feeling necessary to charge you for it, because I know there's plenty of work coming down the road. And literally, the look on this lady's face, her eyes lit up. Like, she was so happy with that. I wasn't going to charge her $50 for going over and giving advice, and she would have been happy to pay me that. But instead, I made her feel so comfortable by being willing to just, I'm happy to do so, guys, because, you know, I'm going to get most of the work that they're going to now do out of it. There's always a give and take, guys, and, you know, you got to charge your worth. And if somebody's coming back left and right and just taking, and not want to pay, then you can't do that. But this is somebody that meets me at every job they call me for, and they're literally they're parked outside the job waiting for me to finish so they can write me a check on the spot. They're fantastic customers, so I treat them accordingly. I'm happy to give them, you know, a couple minutes of my time to, you know, to give them my opinion on stuff, and it's fantastic. There's that beautiful give and take, guys. So just being the best version of you, and use your intuition, use your common sense, know when you need to charge, and know when it's okay to give a discount and give somebody a break, particularly if you know it's going to give you more work further down the road. And I know it's going to. These people are, anything I'm willing to do for them, they're going to have me do, not just the plumbing, not just the heating, not just, you know, whatever, but anything I feel comfortable taking on, they'll have me do before they'll have anybody else do anything. And that's beautiful, guys. That's why my life is expanding in so many beautiful ways, because I'm being intentional about everything. I'm not being greedy. I'm very happy to share. I'm very happy to collaborate, and I'm very happy to be fair. I don't mind going out and doing the work, because I do charge my worth, but I also make it worth the customers. I look at everybody's point of view, not just mine. And that's very important, guys, because when you can see where somebody else is coming from, you're going to understand their concerns, and you're going to be able to alleviate their concerns and make them feel that much more comfortable in working with you. And then they're going to tell other people, and that's how you expand. And guys, it's absolutely beautiful. So, but it all starts with surrendering, because when you think you know everything, you're not going to learn anything. And if you don't learn anything, you're not going to progress. I want to progress, so I surrender daily. I surrender my insecurities, my deficiencies, my concerns, my fears. And then I step up at every opportunity, and I take a leap of faith whenever possible. And I just go out and I do the absolute best I can. I try, when I catch myself getting stressed, I stop, I take a breath and say, okay, well, let's look at this, why? And then I make whatever necessary changes so that I don't get overwhelmed and I don't take on more than I can handle. So I'm giving people proper attention and doing the best possible job that I possibly can, because it's my name on the line at the end of the day, and it's working incredibly well. Guys, that is the lesson for today. Always, surrender is never a weakness. It takes immense strength to be intentional and introspective enough to know where you need help and then to ask for help. The humility it takes to ask for help is one of the most rewarding things you'll ever find, and it brings you immense strength. As much as it sounds contradictory, I can't even say what I'm trying to say. Contradictory. It may sound contradictory, but it's not, guys. It's not. And if you do the work, you will get the rewards. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you in the next one. We'll see you tomorrow.